Greetings and happy holidays to all of you that are tuning in live today. I hope you're all having a wonderful holiday season and hopefully not getting caught up in too much stress or all that busy energy that is definitely available for you out there. And if you are, hopefully you're remembering to center and ground yourself and just come back and pull away from all that crazy energy that may be present. Today, I had every intention of doing the show about the importance of releasing guilt and shame, and we'll see how it flows today because I'm just feeling inspired in the now to speak on some things that happened today. And if we end up having time to address that topic, we will get into it. And if not, then it's perfect and it'll all flow at the divine aligned time. So, first thing is last week we had talked about aligned education, and I had a really amazing amount of feedback. I thought that was really fun that so many of you wrote in and called in, and I encourage you guys to call in again today and to log in right now if you're listening. Go ahead and log in with any name you'd like to use, just so that you can join the chat. And any of you that would like to call in, the number is 919-518-9773. And you can also Skype through to you can Skype to Computers 2K Voice if you'd like to call us through Skype. So I will give you guys a little time to log in. Go ahead and do that right now if you are able to. And I welcome you to join this conversation. Last week we were talking about aligned education, and it kind of went in lots of different directions, that topic, which we are definitely going to address that and come back and reconnect with it again. But today, I wanted to get into the topic of bullying because something happened to me today, and I was just very observing. I was very much observing the whole energy and tuning into what is this happening to me right now for. And as you all know, I take every moment as there's a lesson here, there's something to address here, there's an opportunity to find greater alignment and solution. So I'm always looking for that no matter what's going on, whether it's enjoyable or not enjoyable. And it led me to speak about that today. And one thing I'm going to say, very much in my power, is that I'm in a public position. Like those of us that are doing shows and on Facebook, I put out my phone number, I put out my email address, my website. All of my information is out there. And I'm a very loving, generous person. I'm very trusting, very honorable person. And so when I put that energy out there, of course, my highest intention is that all those are going to send that same honor and love and respect back. However, sometimes the universe has different beings that have different intentions, and they can get access to our information, and maybe they're not always in alignment with what they do with it. And so today I wanted to talk about something that happened where and I just invite you guys to write in your comments, or if you relate to this in any way. Perhaps some of you are needing to see me mirroring to you someone who stands in their power on this instead of feeling like we have to cater or enable the people when they're out of alignment. And so I'm hoping that this opportunity will be something that invites vulnerability, truth, and also an opportunity to mirror alignment. And so what happened is I basically am on Facebook and I have people friend request me all the time. They'll just send requests, and I am a very open, accepting person. If I see someone and they don't give me a weird vibe right away, I invite them in and I allow them to be a friend on Facebook. And because my intention is to reach many, and especially ones that are in need of alignment, in need of healing, that is a position that I'm in as a healer. Is I put myself out there to connect with anyone who shows a desire for healing and wholeness. Well, I had a woman send me a friend request maybe like a week or so ago, and I made a connection with her, and she sent me a private message right away and said, "I sense that you're a healer, and I'm just curious, what are you sensing about me? If you have any messages, I'm very open to what you have to share." And so one thing is I find that it's interesting, someone in a position like mine, we get people a lot that want to just tell us to read them as if it's something we're supposed to do. It's like our job is to do that all the time. And I don't mind it, but sometimes it doesn't really feel like, it's kind of like you're being put on the spot and you're not really being treated with respect of just who you are as a person. And with this person in particular, I was like, I'll tune into you. That's fine. And so I did, and I got some feelings about her energy, and I wrote her back. And she wrote me back saying, wow, you're an amazing healer. I knew you were, and you're spot on with your messages. And a lot of them were about her releasing some anger, her releasing a heaviness that she's carrying with her own energy. And it's like a heavy pain body in regards to some belief system that I feel was out of alignment and really not serving her. And I knew nothing about her. This was just my very first impression energetically when I tuned in. So she asked some questions about healing, and I said, you know, I do offer angelic auric clearings and I offer assistance, life coaching. If you're interested, I can send you some information through email. And so she said, sure, go for it. So I did. I emailed her. I sent her a flyer on the healing work I do. It said everything that I offer, the prices, everything was there. So then, about maybe 3, 4 days later, I get an email back, and the email was very out of alignment in the fact that she doesn't know anything about me. She came to me, she asked me to read her energy, she asked for my healing information. I gave her everything she asked for. And then when she got that, she sent me a really hateful email back saying how she was on Social Security and that she was deaf and that all it was very interesting. She has a lot of belief systems, which I sensed before I even knew anything about her, but it was a lot of anger about people who can hear compared to people who can't, because she's apparently deaf. And she was projecting on me all this anger about the privileged hearing people and how we treat deaf people as if they're ignorant. And she was just going off on me. And then she was telling me how arrogant I was and that I wasn't a good healer and my prices were too high. And she was just lashing out about everything about me. And she didn't know anything about me. She obviously didn't honor me. She obviously didn't really want to get to know me. She just wanted to take from me. And the reason I'm addressing this publicly today is because, first of all, I got that email and I was like, whoo, let me process this for a couple days and feel what I want to say back. And I definitely felt it was needed to be addressed, but I needed a day or two to kind of meditate and feel the energy of what to say. And then I saw her ranting on Facebook, and just everything I'd see her post was about hatred and anger towards people that aren't deaf, and how it's her job to make sure everyone's educated on the fact that deaf people have a hard time. And that it's just, it was like, it was very similar to racism when I would see people that, you know, they get in a rant about for the black people or something, to the point where they're actually hating white people or they're hating someone. It could be people that are driven to make a difference in the misalignment of the government. And instead of them addressing, you know, what they see out of alignment and then doing something to shift it, I observe people that just hate and hate and hate on the politicians. And on my Facebook, I do not tolerate that. I love connecting with souls that are loving, that are seeking truth, and I don't mind honesty. But if your posts are constant negative rants and it's always about you being a victim and everyone else being against you or you being against them, I will tell you today, I will unfriend you in a second. And what I did with her is I observed her for a while, and after that email, that's exactly what I did is I deleted her as a friend on Facebook. I have every right to delete anyone from my Facebook that I choose. And if someone is out of alignment and they're showing no respect, I will definitely delete that. And so I hope that in addressing that, it's helping every one of you see that every one of you has a right to protect your sacred space. And if somebody is ranting or lashing out on your wall or in your email or on your phone, you have a right to block that. And the ones of you that are out there that do this to others and you think that that's okay, you think it's fine for you to lash out because you're angry, or you think it's okay to insult people that you don't even know because you believe something about them, I really encourage you to heal yourselves and to find your alignment before you speak. Because too many people, this is kind of like when we were talking about aligned education and how children get bullied at school. Some of those kids that bully, they never grow up and they don't ever learn that that is not freaking okay. And they continue to want to project this hatefulness on anybody they can get away with it. This woman writing me, I could tell from seeing what she puts on Facebook that she lashes out all the time. This is her energy. It was very heavy and very tense. And I have a right to not allow that in my space. So I unfriended her. I wrote her back and explained that I don't feel I'm the best healer to work with her. I feel that there's things that she really needs to heal in herself and that she already senses it. That's why she reached out to me. However, I will not work with someone who shows no respect and who just basically disrespects me and insults me and makes me feel as if I owe them something. It is out of alignment. And we've talked about this a lot on the show about misalignment, where people think because of some belief system in them that they have a right to control your energy. It could be a stranger, which was surprising to me because I don't get that very often. But often it happens with our family members where, oh, this is my child, so I can do whatever I want or say whatever I want to them, or it's my mom, so I can get away with saying whatever I want because that's my mom. And I really feel that we have a huge opportunity of shifting and clearing some of this misaligned belief system that is really causing us separation. Do I send the best for this woman? Do I wish her the best? Do I hope that she heals? Absolutely. Do I feel it is my job and that I have to help every single person on the planet because I'm a healer? Hell no. If somebody is not really going to honor me or show respect, they are not the best person that I could help them. If they can show honor and respect, even if it's a challenge, I'm not having any problems with challenging someone or being challenged. But if there is no respect or reverence there, I do not have to tolerate that. And neither do any of you that are watching. And so today when this happened, I was getting all these hateful texts from a woman who doesn't know me. And she was just saying so much crazy stuff about how, oh, I knew you were a fake healer and you're just evil and you're terrible and you just don't want to help the ones who are poor. And she was like talking about using some American Sign Language device and how I should have to pay for it and how I should have to help her. And I was just like, what is she talking about? Because first of all, I unfriended her not at all because she's deaf. It had nothing to do with it. But she believes deeply, and this is where we get into seeing why people are so angry. She has a deep belief system that those who can hear are arrogant and entitled and look down at her. So she creates that everywhere she goes, even with people who aren't doing that at all. And so unfriending her, just fed her fuel for her fire of belief system that says people that don't, can hear don't love me and don't like me, and then they treat me bad. And that is not at all what was happening. And so some of us, when we're in a tense place and we have a belief system on top of that, we can really project hatred on others. And it's not at all coming from truth or from wisdom. This time of year, I love Christmas time, but I observe how people get a little crazy at this time of year if they're not really good at grounding their energy, if they're not really good at pulling away from all the demands and all the expectations. And so someone that can't say no to others, can't say no to the demands, can't say no to, maybe things that they don't feel are in alignment and they feel obligated, then they're going to project on people who say no. And so I told her when she was ranting, first of all, she better shift her energy in that dialogue or I was going to block that phone call, and that she had no right to speak to me in that way. That set her off. She totally flipped out on that. I warned her a couple times that she needed to change her energy tone or it was going to be blocked. And then I told her, I wish you the best, but I do not feel for someone who wants to judge others on their abilities to communicate or not. And you're saying that you're here on the planet and your job is to teach people to communicate and to help people that are hearing to be able to have more compassion to deaf people. If that's the case, then she needs to work on her alignment because her communication style was terrible. It was hateful. It was hurtful, projecting. And so that's the topic I want to focus on is all of us have a mission. And I feel her soul mission is to address that and to bring greater compassion and understanding to that community of those who cannot hear. I have the greatest reverence for her for that. However, it is not going to work out so great for her if she is like a Nazi and goes and tries to push that on everyone and terrorizes everyone. It's just going to isolate her. It's going to cause her to not really, I feel, fulfill that mission in the greatest way. And so some of us, we could really be passionate about the food in our country. There's crazy ways to behave, and you want to go blow up the food company, or you want to go out and just say hateful things about them on Facebook all day. Okay, that's one way to handle it, and probably not really addressing anything and probably not shifting anything. And so some of the most amazing leaders I feel that have inspired me are Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr. Some of these people, Marianne Williamson, they've walked the planet, they've spoke truth, they've challenged misalignment, but they've maintained their vibration of love and peace and compassion, but they're in their power. They speak powerfully and they focus on the solution. They focus on what they're here to create a shift for. They're not focusing on the hate and the anger. And so it doesn't matter what we're upset about. It could be that I can't hear and everyone else can, and I'm pissed about it. That is a self-healing opportunity. That is not a moment that you have the passionate desire and need to go out and lash out at everyone who can hear. It makes no freaking sense. If you're not liking what chemicals are in the food, great. I get that. You can do something empowered to shift that, or you can just act insane and insult people and say hateful things, and it will not make a big difference. It's not going to really create a positive shift. So I feel my greatest message today that I'm speaking from the heart is each of us has one thing that we can control in the world. I cannot control people acting crazy. I cannot control how people will listen and shift and come into alignment and love or not. I cannot control if people put chemicals in the food that are not good for us. But what I can control is Tawnya. I can control my alignment, my vibration. I can control my being in a space of love and being that shift, being that change. I can control how I react and how I deal with energies as they come at me. That I can control. And every one of you listening today, that is all you really can control. You may think you can control other people by lashing out at them. You may think you can control your government by being pissed at it and talking about it on Facebook all day. I don't really feel you're controlling anything by doing that. And all that I observe happening is you're losing control of yourself. So when people are flipping out on each other and they're saying hateful things, the only thing you're really doing is losing control. And the more you lose control of your own alignment, your own vibration, the more desperate and fearful you become, and the more your ego is taking you for a ride. And so I challenge any of you today that are tuning in that if you want to disagree with me, bring it to the table and we will go head to head on this topic and talk about it, because I am not afraid of that. But I really would love to shine and illuminate that alignment to each of you to see that whatever it is you're dealing with in your life, there's struggles we all go through. I have the greatest honor for this woman that's struggling with her hearing and how that must be to be in a world where you can't hear. I feel compassion for her. However, her being hateful to me because I can hear is fucking crazy, and it's not going to be tolerated. And I feel that we each have to step into our own power with that. And every single person on this planet, we either are challenging misalignment and we are helping them to find a new way because we're not being bullied by their energy, or we are just becoming participants in that misalignment because we're enabling them out of our fear. If I would have catered to this woman and been like, oh God, I don't want someone not to like me or to talk bad about me publicly, or what if she, says mean things because I won't, do what she wants me to, all I'm doing is I'm enabling her behavior, and her behavior is out of alignment. It is not going to serve her or myself or anyone. And so we each need to look at how we choose that. We each choose that every day. We're heading into this holiday season where next week it's going to be Christmas in 5 days. This can be an amazing time of year for everyone, or it can be a hell time of year. And it's going to all be about how you realize that you cannot control your family members' craziness. You cannot control the pain body and the stories and all the heaviness that some of your family members may be clinging to. You can't control it. You can't control everybody in your government and how they're behaving or not. But what you can control is your own energy, your own vibration, your own stepping into your power, observing your family, observing others, and responding to them with love, wisdom, and truth. This you can control. And I encourage each of you this holiday season to really be in that place of power, really ground your energy consciously before you go into your family's get-togethers, and really open yourself to love instead of clinging to your own story. Maybe you have a story where, oh, every time I go to that family gathering, it sucks. And, I just know mom's going to act crazy. And I just know this and that. I observe people with their stories, and they really love their drama, and they love their pain, and they love their suffering. If they didn't, they would stop focusing on it and talking about it and giving it so much energy. So if this year you're ready for some shifts, some positive shifts, start with yourself. The changes you're looking for are most powerfully addressed within yourself. Each of us has the power to observe and not absorb. We each have the power to listen and respond with love and wisdom and truth. We have the power to step back and observe and not just instantly from ego react. This is something each of us has a gift to step in and enjoy, or we can go unconscious and then we just react without thinking. We respond with hatefulness and negativity. We lash out, we project, and it's all coming from our own ego and our own limited belief systems. So I encourage you all this year to really look at that in yourself. This could be, I feel 2015 is going to be an amazing and miraculous year for shifts. And I'm feeling that for myself and many. I'm observing that. It is coming. We are having so much potential to rise and soar and ascend in new places, new spaces of being. But each of us has to pass through these tests of alignment. And it's not just for the ones that can hear, or it's not just for the ones that, are a certain race or a certain sex or who've been given a certain privilege in life. It is every one of us. There is no one on this planet that is immune from vibrational alignment and the need of that. So that is what I wanted to get off my chest today and kind of speak from the heart about, because I've observed how much we cater to people when they're out of their alignment, and how big picture we are not serving them and we are not helping anything shift in more aligned ways when we cater and respond from fear. So I'm going to pause for a minute and see if there's any feedback or anybody got anything to say. I open the doors for you to speak.
Nobody yet.
Okay.
But boy, oh boy, are you keep going.
So Amnon, how about you tell me, what do you feel from what I just said? Like, can you relate to that in any way, or what do you feel about that?
Absolutely. I mean, but you have to remember one thing. There
Yeah.
is always people like that around.
True.
They are all over the place.
Yes.
If they weren't, this would be a beautiful world.
And this is where we have so much potential to shift this world, is by realizing that, like, I can't change this woman who is hateful. I can't.
You
And I know
cannot.
that. It is not my power to do that. I can hold a path, I can hold a space of love for her, and I can visualize that. I can speak truth to her, which I did, and I challenged her with love, but I can't change her. However, I will not let her change me. And I could feel in the moment, because I've talked about on shows like when we get psychically attacked. I think I've spoke on that a few times. When I was speaking to her, it was through a text. This is a texting machine, a phone, right? I could feel her energy of hate coming through that phone, and my body started to shake. And so, this is something I want everyone to be aware of, their body's sensations when someone is lashing out and projecting. Whoo, whoa, why am I feeling the shakes? Why am I feeling tension in my body? What I realized is that I am feeling her energy. And so I told her, the last thing I said was, I am blocking your number now. And then I was like, we're done. We're blocking this phone number. And I put my phone away, and I felt my body and the sensations of shakiness that were happening. And immediately I sent everything that was not mine back to where it came from. I was like, this energy is not mine. I shook it off. I released it back.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sent her love and light, and I grounded my energy. I shielded myself instantly. And this is something I'm teaching anyone who's listening. Do it instantly, because we feel that shake and that kind of jitteriness to our energy because something just came in and disrupted that frequency. You were in a high vibration, and then what's happening? And I'm going to give you all a little thing that Eckhart Tolle spoke about on, I believe he spoke on this on his Living the Liberated Life CD. He was talking about how he was sitting in nature one day, and he was just sitting there by the pond, and he's watching this duck, and the duck's just like cruising around all smooth and graceful and peaceful on the water. And he was enjoying just watching the peacefulness of this duck and connecting with it. And then suddenly another duck comes flying down at this duck, quack, 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 like squawking and flapping its wings and flipping all the water around. And this duck, who was very peaceful, suddenly is like, what the crap? And he's like, quack, quack, quack. And there's like this tension going on between them energetically for a moment, because this duck's kind of holding his ground, like, back off. So the other disruptive, misaligned, psychotic duck, which even ducks can have a crazy ass moment, apparently. He flew in, he creates tension, he flew away. And some humans are like this. They're just seeking to drop your energy. They're like an energy bomb. And they're just like, "Ooh, she's in a high vibration. I'm going to come fly in there and bomb her energy." So what he saw the duck do is when that duck shook off and he flew away, the duck in the water went and like shook its wings and then pulled its wings back in and then started floating peacefully on the water again. So can you see how symbolically that duck is teaching us all, if we're paying attention, an amazing important lesson? Yes, hold your ground. Sometimes something comes flying at you and you don't know what it is about at all. And I guarantee that duck that flew in, it was nothing about the duck soaring around or the one that was floating in peace. This energy had nothing to do with it. He just was responding like, "Whoa, what is happening?" Held his ground. This duck flies off, pissed off, going to harass somebody else next, probably. And he shook that energy off and then came back to his center. So think about how that is so important for each of us when, like Amnon and I were saying, you can't control other people, but you can come back to your center and you can speak your truth or protect and stand your ground. Sound good?
Sounds perfect.
Awesome.
Yep.
Anybody calling in or writing in?
No, they're in there, but they're not saying, not writing.
Okay.
Come on, guys, write something. Say, ask something.
No worries. Okay, so I feel like I spoke enough about that. That's basically I needed to address and kind of a stand my ground moment on being public like I am. That I'm telling you, if you guys think, "Oh, Tanya's an angel healer and she's really sweet," and so I'm gonna come and write her and I'm gonna tell her she owes me stuff and I'm gonna lash out at her, I will unfriend you. I am not joking. So if you want to do that, go for it, and you will see that you'll be deleted. And I love all the friends and soul family I have, but I will not tolerate disrespect. I will not tolerate abuse or hatefulness at all. Just not going there. Been there long enough in my journey, done. So hopefully I'm
Yeah,
mirroring that to some of you.
and
I think some of you maybe needed to hear me say that so that you see you have a right to say that yourself.
and
Okay.
and and you can look at it also. If after the first time that you said something to
Mm-hmm.
that effect, if she came back and said, "I'm sorry, I know I was
Yes.
out of line, I
Yes.
was whatever," everything would be fine.
Absolutely.
But instead, it's bam, 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 bam.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's basically for me, for my soul, I know humans make mistakes and sometimes humans have shitty days and they just project on each other. But if you have no awareness of your own behavior and you have no consciousness in you to say you're sorry when you've made a mistake and you're out of alignment and you do nothing to heal the wounds you create, I will not tolerate it. And I don't care who you are. You could be my blood family, you could be friends on Facebook. If you show no reverence and you show no honor to your misalignment and do something to correct that, I will not tolerate that abuse at all. And I feel like that's really important. And what you just said is really important, Amnon, because yes, if someone makes an effort to say they're sorry or to address something like, Tanya, I think I was having a bad day and I kind of lashed out at you. I'm really sorry. I, in a moment, will forgive you if you're
Mm-hmm.
correcting that misalignment. But if you're going to continue to lash out, we're not going to hang out. I promise you that. And that is because I love myself and I have a damn well right to say that. And every one of us have the right to say that.
Yep.
Um, and I will get into something on that in just a second, and then we'll go into guilt and shame because that's what I really was hoping to address. And I think they are going to tie nicely together, actually. So today I drew a card, and it feels spot on for the show. Can you see it? Because I can't see myself today, so I can't tell if you can see my card, Amnon. Can you? Yay, nay?
Raise it up.
Anyway,
Raise it up. Up. Oh, that's the Grinch.
no, but it kind of does look like that, huh? It's actually, this card is number 33 and it's Lion Guide. And so I drew a card like, what is a message they all would benefit in hearing? And so, Lion Guide, it says, Lion Guide is here to help you awaken the sleeping lion that lies within you. Your inner lion is powerful, resourceful, and mighty. You really do hold the strength and courage to do whatever needs to be done. It is time to let the world hear your roar. Do you think they just heard my roar, Amnon?
Everybody hears your roar.
Rawr! Okay, Lion Guide. There you go. That was perfect. Lion Guide is here to help you realize that you do rule your inner and outer worlds and to energetically claim your throne as the rightful ruler of your kingdom. So, what I'm mirroring to all of you watching is I and each of you have a right to our inner and outer worlds. So, my inner sanctuary and my outer sanctuary, I have a right to claim that throne and to let in love and high vibration and beauty. But if someone's going to bring in hatefulness, I have a right to say out. You do not have a right to come in here and terrorize me. This is really important for each of us to learn this, and so that we'll stop basically helping create it. We co-create it with others when we enable them. Once you do, you will step into your role as a leader with ease. And I feel in order for us to be the leaders we came here to be, many of us feel inspired to stand out and to be leaders and to make a difference on the planet. If you want to make a difference, focus on yourself right now. Stop looking outside at what's wrong with the world and start addressing your own alignment. Start stepping into your power, speaking your truth every day, and you will get more and more comfortable with your power. I promise you. Okay, I'm going to go into guilt and shame now. And this is kind of off the tangent of what Amnon was just talking about of what if someone, if they said they're sorry, da da da. So last week, I had a situation with my mom, and I'm going to talk about that now and get into the guilt and shame part because I feel it's a really important factor in healing. So in July, there was a situation where my mother had she had texted me and wanted to hear about how my son was doing after he had gone through some stuff with my husband, that there was some abuse that had happened. And I was in that crisis at the time. Things were happening in my now. And my mother, I love her, but she, in the past, from experience, has never really shown me she's someone I should call in crisis because she typically will go into fear and go into the worst case scenario. And I just have learned there's certain people you talk to during that, and there's some that you just don't. And so she asked me to call her, and I was like, I will soon, but not right now. And a couple days later, she texted me and said, Hey, call me. Like, what's going on? So I did, and I called her. And it was probably about a 40-some-minute conversation on the phone. And maybe 5 of those minutes I spent speaking about what was going on in my now with my son. And the rest of the conversation was about her past, her childhood, how much she hated my dad, my biological father, and what an asshole he was. And it just kept going and escalating, escalating. And I was on that phone call and I started to feel more and more tense and just like, this is the last thing I need. I am in this situation with my child. I do not need to hear this. And I don't have the energy to give her right now. And I literally hung up on her, and I'll claim it. I will claim every bit of my choices. I hung up on her, and then I text her, or she texted me and said, Hey, I think we lost signal. And I texted her back and said, Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. And later, when I calmed down, I spent a couple days kind of feeling, what do I need to say to her? Because I need this to shift. I love my mother. I want to have a healthy relationship with her, but I can't tolerate this energy anymore where it just turns into this past discussion about her pain and there's no honoring of anything in the now. And so what I did is I waited a couple days and I wrote her a message and I was like, I love you, Mom, but here's the deal. If you're asking me to contact you and it's something I'm going through, I need you to be a better listener. I need you to listen and not go right into fear and say, you got to get a restraining order and all this fearful stuff. And it's really not helpful when you talk about the past. And this is not something that happened like once in a while. My siblings and I love our mother, but it's happened most of our journey where it goes into her past and there's reasons we don't reach out in those times. And so this was going on, and I felt like, I've got to speak my truth because I'm not going to have any more relationships that are BS, that are not from integrity and not feeling connected and honoring. So I wrote her the message, told her how I felt. I did not hear from her until just recently. I think at Thanksgiving she sent a text or something like that, just like a shallow text, but it was nothing deep. And there was never a response to what I asked her, is like that I wanted to talk to her and we need to connect about this situation. So just recently, she had sent me a thing asking about, do I like some Christmas gift thing? And I was like, Mom, sure, it's cute, but what I would love is for us to address what we're not talking about, which was the last time we spoke. I would really like to address that if you want to move forward. And so I'm saying this because many times when we're needing to challenge a soul who's choosing constantly misalignment and constantly like a pain body situation, they may not choose that in a moment. Just because you give them a message or ask a request does not mean they're going to respond right away. And in this case, it was several months before I even got acknowledged. And so when she finally did call me. She left me a message and she was saying a lot of things that I didn't say, which shows me how much people, they read what you write and then they tweak it to what their inner self is telling them about themselves. So as she was reading it, she's like, "Oh, Tawnya thinks I'm a terrible mother. She thinks I've always been a terrible mother." And that's what she heard. Her ego voice was telling her. It's not at all what I said. And so she got hurt and she decided she didn't want to talk to me about it because I hurt her. So when we did finally talk, I listened to her side of it and then I talked to her and I was like, "Mom, if you go read those texts again, do you see anywhere where I've said that?" And she's like, "Well, but that's how it made me feel." And I said, "Okay, I am not in charge of how you feel. I am not in charge of how you interpret a message. All I can do is speak from my heart what I actually want to say to you. And then if you are in pain or guilt or shame in some way about your past and how you handled it, you are going to take that ego part of yourself and project it on me and think that's what I'm saying. And that's not really what's happening." And so we went through this conversation on the phone for maybe over an hour or so. And it was very, at first, tense. And then I just kept challenging her and I kept saying, "Mom, I love you, but what are you doing right now? You're going into the past. You're doing that thing. And this is not helpful. This is not helping us address this situation." And so she would just be quiet for a minute and she'd come back. So as we did this dance for a while, it finally came to this moment where my mom said, "Well, I don't know if I could undo it, I would undo it, but I don't know how to make it, what'd she say? She's like, "I don't know how to undo the past." And right then I was like, this is a beautiful moment of opportunity. And I said, "Mom, you can't undo the past. That's the thing with it. It's done. But what you can do is we can both communicate from love right now, and we can both have greater awareness right now. We can move forward into the future with that awareness and with that honor. And that is how we'll shift things. We don't need to have guilt and shame." And I told her that. I said, "If you have guilt and shame about the past, it is so important for you to release that. Because if you don't clear that in yourself, then no matter what your children say to you, you think they're saying you're a terrible mother because you think that about yourself." And so the reason I'm saying that story today is that this was a pretty important situation in my life that just recently happened with my mother. And I was really proud of her for speaking that truth and showing that vulnerability. She did at the end of the conversation say she was sorry and that she probably should have just texted me back or wrote to me. And I was like, "Mom, I'm proud of you because if you actually speak to someone, it shows them that you love them and then you can address that, you can move forward. But if you don't even acknowledge them in any way, it's basically choosing separation." So if we look back about ego and alignment, unity consciousness will choose a choice from love that brings about connection and communication and unity. Ego will choose a choice that comes from the fear, the negativity, and it will choose separation. And so every choice we make, we need to really walk that fine line of intention and know, what is my intention right now? Am I trying to create unity? Am I trying to bring truth and wisdom, compassion? Or am I coming from a space of fear and ego where I'm moving in a direction of separation, guilt, fear? See where I'm coming from? So in this situation, that is what had happened. And she saw that she could have contacted me and we could have had communication. So I'm saying that to all of you listening, to look in your lives. If there's someone that you didn't contact, maybe it's been years since you talked to them. Maybe you have a daughter and you've not talked to her in years, or a son, or a father, or an aunt, and they hurt you years ago, and you're still carrying around that story about the pain body. I observe my own family and I love them, but damn, do they have trouble letting shit go. I'll just say it. They want to talk about their pain every dang time you hang out with them. And I love them so much, but I'm like, guys, why don't you just shift it, drop it, release it, forgive it? And what if you came in and connected authentically with each other? You could come back together, you could heal it. And as long as we're carrying guilt and shame, we procrastinate our own healing. We procrastinate our unity, our connection time. So any of you listening that are having something inside that's you feel shameful about, something you've done, something you did, and you still feel shame, you still feel guilt about it, I am encouraging you today to give that to your angels. thank them for clearing that from your energy and to go and make it right. Whether you speak from soul to soul, maybe someone that it's about isn't even here anymore, but you can release it from your energy, heart to heart, soul to soul. If it's someone you do want to have a relationship with, it's someone that they do mean something to you, go put that effort forth and tell them you're sorry. Tell them, it's been years since I spoke to you. I know. And I was really guilty and I felt a lot of shame for how I treated you. And so it kept me away. And some of us need to really look at that behavior in ourselves if we want those relationships. If it's somebody that you just really feel that they're not healthy, they're not respectful, you don't have to go hang out with everybody. We're not all here to hang out with everybody. Honestly, every soul is evolving at its own pace and everyone is at a different vibration. So some are going to hang out and feel real comfortable with this energy, where other souls will not feel comfortable with that vibration because it's a different consciousness. So I think it's important for us to address that and to realize that it's not like a prejudice superiority thing, but there are certain energies and vibrations I will not just go and hang out and spend time with because they don't feel good, they don't feel comfortable. I can still send love to them, I can still wish the best for them, but I don't have to hang out with them. If, however, I am not feeling good in myself because of some guilt or shame and it's causing me pain, this is my responsibility to heal. So, if whether I want a relationship with the person or not, I want to release that guilt. I want to release that shame because if you don't, it's an interesting thing, guilt and shame. It's a very sneaky egoic energy that's very much a path to the dark side, I would say, if you want to go with Star Wars. Because when you've done something wrong, say you beat your child and you never said you're sorry and you never wanted awareness about it because you felt so ashamed that you would ever do something, that you'd lose your control like that. And so you continue to just disconnect from that child and then you kind of find fault with the child so that you can isolate them and make them feel bad because you feel guilt. This is not going to serve either of you big picture. So if you just address what's going on in you and you clear it and you say you're sorry and you do the work and you choose the choices to actually heal yourself and find alignment, you actually have an opportunity to have beautiful relationships. Most souls, if they're shown honor, even if they've been hurt, if they're shown genuine honor and respect and they are given that opportunity to be shown that, they will forgive. But if you don't show any effort because of your own guilt and shame, you really continue to create the separation in that relationship. So it's really, I feel like, such an important topic for each of us to address in our own healing if we really desire healing. If you don't desire healing and you like drama, then keep holding on to that guilt and shame. That'll work out nicely for that. So, anybody have any comments on that?
No, but
No?
I'm glad you got to that point where you were talking about that later on in life. We most in most cases we actually regret if we don't do right.
Yes.
You and your mom.
Yes.
You have to remember that um, you don't have eternity.
No. Well,
And
you do, soul level.
well,
But
soul level, yeah, but
if you want to save time, address that stuff now.
yeah, I mean it's much better to solve the problem and talk about it and have good experiences,
Yes.
especially, I mean, I'm thinking back to when my parents, when they passed away, and there was always regret of, I didn't do this or I didn't do that with them, and you
Mm-hmm.
sort of like saying, so this is why you need to try and straighten it out, and sometimes you may have the power to straighten things out even though they are the thorn.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like me writing to my mom and saying how I felt from the heart, even though I didn't know it was going to change anything.
right.
I knew it was important to speak truth and to connect with her. And when she was ready, we would go deeper into connection. But I just was not going to participate in the shallow anymore. I was like, It has to be heartfelt connection. It can't be superficial. I refuse to sit on one more phone call and like bite my tongue and feel like I'm walking on eggshells. It needs to be authentic. And I feel like so many of us, if we have the courage to do that and really speak from the heart, it would really heal so much in our family dynamic. But so many of us sit back and bite our tongues and just we feed into the energy and we do nothing about it. And then we go home and we complain, right?
Right.
And that's not helping anything. And for you, Amnon, with your parents, sounds like you feel that kind of remorse to the past, but that's a perfect example of you sensing and connecting with that and realizing from soul to soul, mom, dad, I love you.
Oh
I
yeah.
could have done better at times. And you know what? I thank you for that lesson. And I'm going to do better now with everyone else.
Right.
So you clear and release that guilt and shame so that you don't let it control you in any way. That's really important. Anybody got comments on that? Or are they all just being really quiet?
They
Like, ooh,
all
we're
are
kind of
being
scared to
just
talk to her today.
they all are just being quiet, sitting there. I'm trying to ask them to write something.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, write us in, guys. I know some of you relate to what I'm talking about. I know every one of you's got some kind of situation where someone's either projected on you or where you've done that, or some of you listening have had something you've done that you feel guilty or ashamed about, or someone else has done something and you know that it's keeping them from connecting with you. Just share about that. Give us some of your insights. Um, in regards to all that, I feel that it's important to love everyone and love yourself. And it comes back to that healthy boundary setting of self love. I can love my mother and I can love this stranger that's writing me an email, and I can love my soul family who are sweet to me and treat me with honor. I can love them all. And I do. I have unconditional love for everyone. However, I also love myself and I choose who I spend my vibrational time with. I am very careful and selective of who I invite into my sacred space. If people show misalignment and they don't show honor, I don't have to hang out with them. And none of you listening have to. Some of you have belief systems that are really getting you in trouble. Some of you have belief systems of, well, my family, it's my family, so I have to put up with it. Or, it's my child, so I have to tolerate it. Or it's my mom, so I have to. No, it is not true. The only truth is that if you come into a moment of awareness today, you can see that you are choosing every moment. Is your choice choosing from a place of love, self love, empowerment, and truth? Or is your choice taking you in a place of not honoring self, not speaking truth, biting your tongue, going through that again, and then talking trash about it later to somebody else, and then gossiping, but doing nothing about it? Because if that's the truth, this is definitely the path of the ego, and it's definitely the path of destruction and separation. And love is the path of liberation, truth, freedom, and wisdom. And each of us has a choice every moment which one we choose. Every single moment we choose love or we choose fear. Every single moment we choose truth or we lie. We enable or we empower. Every single moment. And it's going to start the greatest shift that will help you all is when you look at yourself. Look at your own self. Like I said, I can assist souls who want to work with me as a healer, and I can help them and guide them, but they still have to do their work. I'm assisting. If there's people that don't want to hear anything I have to say and they think Tanya's crazy and they just want to lash out and judge me, okay, that's not something I can control. If someone loves me today, compliments me, and it's coming from a genuine place, I salute them and say thank you. If someone loves me today and they say a lot of things and they're manipulating my energy, I can feel it and I will address it and say, what is your intention? I'm sensing that you're trying to manipulate my energy. Oh, well, you're just an evil healer. And then they lash out and the true who's really there shows up. Okay, you need to go out of my vibrational space. And so we can't control what ducks fly in, but we can control our own energy and we can hold our ground and then come back to our peaceful place. We can, if we're that misaligned duck flying in and causing tension, in a moment of awareness, which we cannot lie to ourselves. Some of you, you lie to yourselves. You try to pretend, oh, that didn't just feel out of alignment because I'm justified in my anger. And then that quiet voice says, oh, I really shouldn't have spoke to her like that. What was going on with me? Oh, but she's evil. And so we really, if we all could do this, there would be no terrorism on this planet. There would be no problems with countries hating each other, because each of us would be looking at our own freaking behavior, and there could be no dictators on the planet. We would not tolerate or even help them grow. Dictator energies, we have all in some form enabled them and been afraid of them and intimidated by them. So we give to them out of that misalignment, and we create freaking monsters. So we each need to look in our own behavior of how we are either participating in an aligned shift of health and unity and love, or we are participating in a misalignment of hatefulness and manipulation and fear and separation. And you really, every one of you, are making a choice every moment, every thought, everything that comes out of your mouth, every action is going in one direction or the other. And I encourage you to really take time to meditate, to process and be truthful with yourself. And if you know that you've stepped out of line and you've caused harm to someone, you say you're sorry. You make that gesture. Even if you guys don't hang out, you come to a place of truth in yourself and you say, I'm sorry. You clear the shame, you clear the guilt, and you come into alignment. Because you know what? You're all human beings having, you're spiritual beings having a human experience. And in that human experience, some of you are making mistakes at times. We make these things called mistakes. I don't really believe in them. I feel like what a mistake really is we make a choice that wasn't quite the most highest choice of love that we could have made. And we know it could have been better. And so we say we're sorry. We make a difference. We don't just say sorry and then do the same thing. We say a heartfelt, I'm sorry. And then we do something differently to shift that in a new direction. And we show more honor next time. And so we each have such an opportunity for shifting this planet, but it's not going to be lashing out at Obama or lashing out at, Korea, or lashing out at Christians or lashing out at Jews or lashing out at anybody. It's going to be from coming into your own place of stillness and alignment and coming from a place of love and truth. That is where your power lies. Any other feedback or anybody? Quiet.
Jeremy said agreed. So I asked,
Jeremy?
yeah. So I asked him. I said with everything, and he said so far.
Nice. So let's ask Jeremy a question. Jeremy, since you're connecting and chatting with us a little bit, tell us how it is that you feel that you have been tested in some way of what we talked about today, and how did you handle that? Or maybe even if you didn't handle it perfectly, how do you see that you could handle it now? Like, are you seeing the path of solution after this show? And we'll give them a minute to respond. Anybody else writing in?
Nope.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear from you, Jeremy. If any of you call in, I'm going to give you the number again. We only have a few more minutes. So if you call in, I will do a live reading for you. It is 919-518-9773. So if anybody wants to be brave and bold and call in, I will do a reading for you. So someone call in if you like. Also, I'm going to offer that special I offered before, and it's just going to be, this is the last week I'm offering it for a while. But any of you that have never received an auric clearing, or you've never done any soul coaching with me before and you would like to do a remote session, I'm offering a special for remote clients for a half off session. So it's either half off of a soul coaching session, half off of a remote auric clearing. And if you want to make use of that and you want to connect on that, you need to email me at tanyaangel@gmail.com, or go to the website, which I believe is showing up on your screen, of tanyaangel555.com. And I believe all my information's on there on my blog. Usually, I just wrote a blog about auric clearings. So if you go to the blog and look at the bottom, it's got all my contact info. And I will be offering that special until Christmas. So if any of you are wanting to do that, I would seize the moment now, and you're going to basically save some money to have that opportunity. And I completely value what I do. I do not at all feel my prices are overcharged or overpriced, because I get plenty of clients that I see shift and heal in miraculous ways. And I also see that there are people who use that as an excuse to not do their work. I also see that there are plenty of people on the planet that don't really value healers or value things. So that's not really for me to shift. But I do value myself. And I also, from the heart, feel led to offer specials sometimes for people to help them out. So if you've been using that at all as an excuse to hold back from this shift, I encourage you to seize that opportunity and contact me, because what a great time to make those changes right at the new year and really let 2015 be an amazing new year for you, because you've cleared away all the things no longer serving you. So, did Jeremy write back?
He did. He says, I solved it by giving in a little. Uh,
He did what?
he said, I solved it by giving in a little.
Oh, nice. Which
Um,
sometimes, yeah, there's like a softening that's
uh,
needed depending on what's going on. Yeah.
he's not a man of many words, or it may be a woman. I don't know.
Well, that's great. And yes, there's times where we are to be in our power and stand our ground on something. And then there's times where maybe you need to soften a little bit. Like, okay, maybe I was a little rigid, maybe I was a little tense, so I could soften my approach. And so it's a really an in the now discernible thing that we each have to connect with, of what's going on. How do I want to operate from a place of love? What is my intention? Each of you knowing your intention is really vital. If your intention is revenge and hatefulness and suffering, you have entered Darth Vader energy, and you're basically going to be on the path of darkness, and you're going to come from ego and fear. If your intention is love and understanding and compassion and unity, then you will come from a different place and you will choose that vibrational alignment. And that's going to, it's going to be different for every soul at every moment of what that choice may be. But you know, in your heart of hearts, you each know, if you're conscious, if you are not a sociopath, you know if you are in alignment or not. I even feel sociopaths, they say that they can't tell and they feel nothing, they have no empathy. I really feel that they do know when they're out of alignment. They do know when they're doing things that cause harm, but they just don't care and they don't want to do anything about it. And I think it comes back to that place of guilt and shame. It's like if a human kills another human being, once you've done that, if you have guilt and shame about that, and it's kind of like taints the soul, it's like a darkness on the soul. If you believe you cannot clear that or heal it, then you will continue to kill. You will continue to create harm and damage. If we all understand the truth of spiritual alignment, is that all of us can be forgiven and realign at any moment, any choice. So even if someone has created an act like murder or something that's really out of alignment to societal's view, that that's wrong, a soul still has the opportunity to heal and release the guilt and shame of that choice, and to say they're sorry and to come back in and choose vibrational alignment from this moment on. You may have a consequence to some of your behavior. Deal with it and own it. If you create certain energies and there's a consequence, that is part of the karmic energy you're playing out. But you can all heal and come into alignment. Every one of you. There's no one immune from it, and no one who's going to escape alignment on this planet anymore. We each have to choose it. And I promise you, as you do, your experience will be so much more beautiful. You will see how miracles just come in for you, how abundance and love and kindness and compassion and opportunity, it all just flows in when you're in that alignment. And yes, sometimes even if you're a really aligned being and you're having a great life, there can be a squawk and duck come in and try to fluff your feathers. Just realize, whoa, what's going on? Speak your truth, hold your ground, shake that energy off, and let it go. So, boom, we're done right at 6. So, is Jeremy saying anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for connecting with us. And thank you all that are watching and listening in. And some of you may be out shopping and doing your last minute stuff. So, if you didn't catch the show, we're going to be putting it on Facebook in a little while. And I do give you guys till Christmas Day to contact me if you want to make use of that offer of a half off session. And I wish you guys the best holiday season. I hope you all have amazing times with your friends and your family, and that you can stay grounded, connected, and centered in love, because that's what it's all about. So thank you all for tuning in today, and we will connect next week at 5 p.m. Pacific. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCBVI members, The Tawnya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.